Hey you guys, it's your boy Titan here. Today we have a guest in the studio who is no stranger to the camera or controversy. He was the Minister of Health at one point. He's a doctor. We value his opinion. Please permit me to welcome to the studio Dr. Fuad Khan. Dr. Fuad Khan, welcome. All protocols and everything preserved. We just have a little discussion today. We're going to talk about obesity. We want to talk about, because I know how you feel about obesity. We want to talk about obesity, the trends that you see, your 10 years health minister, some of the things you would have done, that kind of thing. So firstly, tell us about yourself and the obesity.
I started off early as a exercise person.
Right.
And I trained myself, and in the days when I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of people were into exercising, especially when the Chinese pictures came out. We all started karate.
All right.
And I still do it. And I push my children into taking care of their bodies and making sure that they exercise daily. One day for the week they may take off and watch a proper diet.
Right.
This has been my mantra for a while. When I became a urologist, basically in 1990, I had been a general practitioner for about 6 years before that.
Okay.
And in those days, there was not much of an obesity problem as it is now. And we went on becoming urologists, etc., and men's health, women's health, whatever. However, I had a very I would say critical eye for people who are tending towards and becoming obese.
Yeah.
Because of the weight of medical problems that it carries.
Right. So you are talking we're not talking about aesthetic, how
Attractive,
you look.
yeah.
It
is nice to look nice.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, if you look at everything else, take away the United States, move the United States out of the equation. Because when you go to the United States now, you have plus-size mannequins, plus-size models, because they sell to that demographic to make money. It's not about attractiveness. It's about how I could sell to make money.
It's capitalism.
That is the whole idea.
Right.
So they will have everything tending towards the population, the constituency that they're approaching. However, what they do push it sometime, but COVID exposed a lot of the problems of obesity in a way, because a lot of people who were dying in COVID were obese people.
Yeah, they had the comorbidity, yeah.
And they had the comorbidity of obesity, which brought the diabetes, the hypertension, the kidney problems, the cardiac problems, and you go down the comorbidity list.
Right.
What was the basis of all that was usually poor eating habits, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high diabetic problems,
right.
And all that tend towards somebody who was obese.
And then, of course,
and overweight.
And then, of course, we were locked down for 2 years.
No, but I'm talking about before that, they were obese, kicked in around in 2008, 2009.
That's when it became a phenomenon.
It became a problem because people started to eat less at home. If you notice, once you stop eating at home and you start eating outside, the obesity epidemic increases. And when you go to the United States of America and you look at cable TV, all you see is food. They promote food and drugs. You notice that is what they promote, right?
For sure.
So when you're eating a lot of food, right, burgers, pizzas, everything, and you don't see, and sugars is a main problem. When you don't see much healthy eating habits. If you notice when you look at cable TV, you see the junk.
Food. It's always fast food.
You see the junk.
It's always fast food.
You see soft drinks. You see soda water. You see, I don't use no trade names here because they're going to affect you.
Right.
Any sugary fizzy drink is promoted all over. Fat itself, right, does not get you fat to any great extent. It gives you fat calories, but it makes you full, so you don't eat as much. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if you eat a steak or you eat something with fat in it, you get satisfied easier than if you take something with sugar in it that floats through your system.
So fat has
and,
been...
and in less than an hour or two, you end up being hungry again.
Okay, so fat has been vilified for no good
reason at all. It was done. The sugar industry vilified fat and caused people to. That's when sugar was in its heyday. So when they wanted to sell people more sugar, they would start to say that sugar is nice, sugar is great, sugar is nice,
and
great.
They had various
forms, and the various forms
like
of sugar in everything. Yes.
Kind of
so therefore you have high fructose corn syrup. Now, if you are in the glycemic index, if you're 100 is sugar glucose is called is 100, given a value. Yeah. That is sweet, but high fructose corn syrup is sweeter than sweet. Is way up here.
It is higher, yeah.
And it stimulates your brain and decreases something called leptin in your system, and it stimulates your hypothalamus, your nucleus in your brain, to be addicted.
Right.
So these are what they call, sugar is like what they call a legal drug. So once you put it, it's like cocaine, same effect of cocaine, heroin, crystal meth and those things, but they are illegal.
Yeah.
But the effect of sugar is exactly the same thing.
And we see like when you try to take literally when you try to take candy from a baby, how
they're crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy.
I remember sitting in a restaurant. A couple came in with 2 children, right? Very quiet. Everybody sat by the table. Next thing you know, the 2 children were climbing the walls. I remember this little girl fat climbing the walls, and I want to know. And I looked on the table. They were drinking the big sweet drink. I won't call no names.
Right.
But it's the popular one.
Yeah, we know.
And they were drinking that, and they had reached about 3/4 down.
Wow.
And the sugar and caffeine had them climbing the wall. Wow. They were going crazy. And may I say something to those 2 children were obese.
Okay.
So the sugar and the caffeine together with, I will always put in MSG. Right. A lot of fast foods and people cooking nowadays, when you go to eat, you're eating plenty sugar, plenty high fructose corn syrup, plenty MSG, monosodium glutamate, and you are the whole biochemical cycles in your body, the free fatty acids. Sugar breaks down to free fatty acids.
Okay.
And it deposits on your belly and in your organs. Like you take sugar normally you sweeten your tea with or whatever it is, or you're in your juice. It has 2 molecules, glucose and fructose, 50% each. The glucose goes into your body and gives you energy. The fructose goes into your liver, stays there, and breaks down to free fatty acids.
I had no idea.
And that fructose is the culprit of making you fat.
Okay.
So if you stay away from sugar, stay away from high fructose corn syrup, all those things, you will just live a normal life and not be fat. However, the food industry has realized that they have to make you addicted to keep coming back.
But as health minister, what were some of the initiatives that you would have taken? Some of these things that you would have done?
Same, exactly I'm speaking here.
Yeah.
Fight the fat program, love yourself program.
But you can't say fat.
I say fat.
Okay.
I say fat. Who don't like it?
Okay.
The only people who don't like it is because they're fat.
Oh, fair enough.
And they get vexed when you talk about fat. You tell Fuad is a fat shamer, but I fat shamer for your own good. Yes. I don't want to see you die. I love my people. So if you're fat and you're going to die, I am going to be brutal. I'm going to be brutal.
Right.
And as Minister of Health, I'd rather be Minister of Good Health rather than Minister of Ill Health.
Okay.
When somebody is obese, they end up high blood pressure, diabetes.
There's a myriad.
Now let's go through it. Let's go through it in the program.
Go ahead.
High blood pressure, you go through diabetes. You start from high blood pressure to cardiac problems to renal problems, to kidney problems, diabetes to obesity, deposit of fat all over the body, and on your heart, so you get heart attacks. So together with the high blood pressure and the diabetes, is a concoction of death. Yeah. Then you get fat. Then you don't see you're fat because you don't look at yourself in the mirror. People will not tell you you're getting fat because they're afraid to offend you.
Yeah, they can't see.
My job is to offend you into success. My job as Minister of Health is to make sure that you are so offended that you're going to deal with me by getting slim and not staying fat. Because at the end of the day, you are going to kill yourself. And there's something that I'd like to discuss with you. It's called the determinants of health, social determinants of health. What that is, if a breadwinner of a family gets sick, right? Everybody suffers.
Right.
The breadwinner, no money goes back into the house, no salary, no ability to buy anything. So you go from living a middle income life to a zero income life. And if that breadwinner gets a heart attack, gets kidney failure, gets different things, they can't work. So we call it the social determinants of health. If you're unhealthy, what are the social problems that occur as a result of you being unhealthy?
Which is something nobody talks about.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people worldwide who are victims of obesity and comorbidities. And they can't work. And their family go into poverty as a result of that person can't work. So they used to live a good lifestyle. No, they don't. They have to sell everything because what?
Sickness.
You have not taken hold of your indulgence in ultra processed foods and processed foods and high fructose corn syrup and everything else that goes with it. Because if you believe that the media, right, who is advertising stuff is on your side, you are wrong. Their job is to keep you unhealthy so they could sell pharmaceuticals, and also obese so they could sell more pharmaceuticals.
And I'm happy we were able to be here and through reasonable discourse,
Yes.
of course, deal with these things, because when you spoke out on social media, the times when you did, you were the villain.
As a villain, yes.
You were the villain, and now, and of course, through our ability now to interrogate the perspective, we knew that everything that you did was coming from a place of love.
It was. I saw too many families having problems. In fact, when I was, before I became a specialist, I was a district medical officer. Right. As a district medical officer, you have to go to family homes in the district. You see people in health offices. But the thing about it is when you go to somebody's home to see a dead, you have to go and pronounce them, certify them dead. You see the lifestyle the people lived, but because of illnesses, what happened to them? The lifestyle went boom, right down. And the wife or the husband, whoever it may be, will say, yes, we used to live a good life, everything there, but the thing about it, we no longer live that way. We can't afford to bury the dead. We can't afford to do this. So we have to go to national insurance, we have to go to this. Because the basic line was this: the person died from a heart attack. Why did he have a heart attack? Because he had high blood pressure and diabetes.
And he ate poorly.
How we get diabetes and hypertension? Because he ate poorly. It didn't just come overnight. Because people who are fit and people who watch the diet and everything else do not end up in that mess. Yes, they may die from something else, but not as much as somebody who is indulging in the negatives.
And the statistical data will show you.
So you could end up in a serious problem. And it's our job. You're a health person, you're fit. It's our job to keep pounding on that door and hope that at least people listen.
Somebody answers the door,
Yeah.
And over the past couple of years, of course, we've seen the prevalence and the proliferation of various trends and various fads and whatnot. The latest but not greatest would be the semaglutide, or the I don't want to say the other name, but the semaglutide, the wonder drug, the diabetic drug that
Is a once a week injection.
Yeah.
That it makes you lose weight.
Right.
Because it stimulates, as far as I remember, it stimulates the leptin in your system, which causes you to feel satisfied. Yeah. And how it does that is by decreasing your stomach emptying. If you decrease the stomach emptying, you feel full. However, the food stays in your stomach. It doesn't go down. So it's like your stomach just distends. So you feel full, so you don't eat. And as a result of that, you lose weight. But you could do the same thing by not eating.
Right.
And just watch. Weight gain, weight loss is a mental thing. It's willpower and mental. When your belly growls and calls you to eat, it's because you're hungry. So you grab anything in front of you and eat it and you wolf it down. If you eat 5 small meals a day, so you don't ever get that hunger, you're not going to eat rubbish.
Right.
Ozempic. Oh, I said the word.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, I said it.
It's too late.
Yeah. Those drugs, those type of drugs, the semaglutides,
Right.
that is what they do. They block your feeling to eat.
Yeah.
And they give you a sense of satisfaction.
And there's a number of mechanisms it uses. But at the end of the day, I always encourage, especially with clients, now 500, let's just say 500 calories of good food will be a big plate of food.
Yes.
And 500 calories of, let's just say 2 doubles.
Yes.
2 doubles.
That's 700 calories.
That's in just in a little bag.
Yes.
You know, so.
And you can finish in 5
And
minutes.
you finish in 5 minutes. You know, and of course, one would obviously have more benefit
Than the other, yes.
short term than the other. You know, the body deals with it.
If you eat meat, you eat a steak around 4 ounces.
Yeah.
You eat some vegetables, right? And beans. You have enough there to settle you. You stay away from too much of white flour, which is processed, refined white carbohydrates.
Right.
Because what that does, it goes into your system and it spikes your sugar.
Mm-hmm.
When you eat your let's say white bread, or bread on the whole, as you eat it, it goes down your system. The carbohydrates breaks down fast into glucose, and you end up with glucose fructose mix.
And you're hungry in the next 5 minutes.
Because it washes out your system.
Yeah.
And you could eat, let's say, I don't want to use the words, but burgers. If you eat a hamburger or a chicken sandwich that you sell in fast foods, you eat it, you get 1,500 calories, and your daily intake is supposed to be about 1,800 to 2,500, depends on your body build. If you build different weights, like you might be 3,500. But no, you had to put it in.
Yeah.
But you eating proteins, you eating meat, you eating beans to give you that 3,000.
Yeah.
But when you eat bread, hamburgers, right? Chicken sandwich, you get in 15, you could get about 5,000 to 8,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
And out of that, 7,000 of them turning into fat. So within a month, imagine yourself eating that for a month.
What is happening?
You're going to put on one big set of weight, and then you tell yourself, you're looking nice, eat fat and nice, but you're looking sick. So obesity is a serious disease. People don't lump it as a disease, but it is a disease that creates only negative.
It's multifactorial. And, you know, when you were in office in your tenure, you would have seen some of your colleagues would have done, one of the fads at that time was the gastric bypass.
It's still a fad.
It's still a fad, the gastric bypass, where they go now and they literally starving themselves.
Well, basically what a gastric bypass does, it cuts your stomach down from this to this. So you can only eat about this and the food rushes straight through your system. So if you eat anything, it has to be a little volume, as small as possible, else you're going to vomit it out or feel real sick. And the sugars run through your system and absorbs water and gives you serious diarrhea.
Okay.
Right? So that's what gastric bypass does.
So it's a short term.
So eventually you stop eating, you eat very little. In fact, you could do the same thing without a gastric bypass.
Correct.
And starve yourself.
Your mind, yeah.
Yeah. And you end up, if you don't eat proteins, you will end up getting, as we say, skinny fat.
Yeah.
You will get, your fat will still be there in the body,
But
your muscle gone because your muscle is being reabsorbed to give you your protein.
And you step on the scale and you think that you're making progress.
You're not.
Because you're okay.
Because you're dropping weight, but you're dropping protein weight. You're not dropping bad weight, you're dropping good weight.
So did you reach out to these gentlemen?
I told them.
You're still fat.
I told them. Let me do an experiment here, a social experiment. I will eat the same thing all eating,
Right.
and the same quantity all eating, right? So I did that. and they had the bypass. I lost 40 pounds. Yeah?
Okay.
Right? No, not 40, sorry, 20. I lost 20 pounds, right? But I was fat. And I said, and I showed them, I said, I am small like you. I've gone about, I went down about 4 or 5 sizes in pants and things. Now I was small.
Yeah.
I've gotten small. Everybody say, boy, you're looking good in your suit. But I was sick. I was looking tiny and small and everything else. Face drawn down because, but so all of them, but I did not do a bypass. They thought I did. I said, no, they said, check me to see if I had the holes.
Yeah.
I said, look, I became the same size as you all by just watching the diet. But then I started to back to exercise and eat my protein, etc., and get back to my weight. But they couldn't do that. Although 1 or 2 people did lifestyle changes. I don't want to call names, but I know them, they did bypass. But with that, they did lifestyle changes.
And that was more sustainable.
Yes, they're still small now, but it's not because of the bypass, it's because of the lifestyle change. If they had done the lifestyle change at the same without the bypass, they would be the same way. So fast fixes don't really work.
So were you responsible for any programs with respect to bringing education?
I did a lot of education,
changes?
Especially with Fight the Fat program.
You can't say fat.
Yeah. Fight the Fat program, Love Yourself program. We had the game Days of Play programs.
Mm-hmm.
I went so far as to have on Monday night mass, I got the something called the Steel and Fitness Meet in the Street. So Monday night, right, on Aripita Avenue, we had steel vans for miles, right, which you don't ever see again. All right, and the Monday night mass started at 7, and people came and they could jump and had aerobics and had flag people, everything along the whole of Aripita Avenue, and back-to-back pan playing while you exercised. It had people like peas, but they haven't done it again because I was able to take the ministry money and do that because it was a health promotion aspect during the carnival.
Okay, so what you're saying is you would like, we would all
It'd be
like
nice.
to see initiatives.
Do you realize you don't see pan on carnival again? You don't. You see DJ's truck.
Yeah.
And I was pushing, and I've been pushing with Gypsy to put that back on the street at the agenda. So Monday night is Monday's pan, nothing else. Don't come in out night. I got the police to shut down all the bars and DJs for that Monday night.
As a health initiative.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. In terms of education, is there anything that you would want to see, like the school programs? Because
I think, yes, you're quite right. I didn't think of that. I was together with the Minister of Education. The Ministry of Health developed it, proper eating, and proper things for schools. No sugar, no this, no that, and they've implemented it.
Right.
We had like green light foods, red light foods, and yellow light foods, and we had a total document done at the Ministry of Health, and we passed on to the Ministry of Education, and they were supposed to implement in the schools together with, like what they do in Japan. They teach children how to eat.
Yeah.
They go and teach them how to eat and tell them that this is good, this is bad, this is best, this is bad, this is good, and we need to bring that in schools.
Because we see now there's a correlation, especially in physical activity, kinesiology and whatnot. We see a correlation now between a better student and a more active student. There's a positive correlation there. And of course we are seeing children now becoming better adults because of the habits that are necessary to form, to become more athletic, to become more active. It transfers into every facet of their life, including the academia. But we are still, the children are still suffering, I have to say.
Because a child cannot eat what they can't afford. Children don't have money. Parents have money. So if the parents buy junk for the child to eat, the child will eat. If the parents buy good stuff for the child, the parents will get a good product out of it. However, our parenting of today is the child is the boss and the parent is the child. People look at the children as if they're in charge.
rather than lay
then
low.
you are in charge and you lay the law down. And as a result of that, you eat all the rubbish you could think about, all the fast foods you could think about. People have stopped eating from home, if you notice. However, if you want to lose weight, the more at home eating you do, the more weight you will lose. Once you eat close to the ground, right, and less in the supermarket as the ultra processed food, you go to the market and buy your greens, your meat, your
And
potatoes.
it's also
Yeah.
way more economical to
and
buy
you
straight
and
from
you
the-
and you cook that, but you see when you buy food outside, they put a lot of salt, they put a lot of sugar, they put a lot of MSG in it,
because
and
it's about food preservation.
it
The food
changes your
company-
taste.
Right. So,
So when you
about-
cook at home,
Yeah.
it don't taste the same.
Yeah, because it's about food preservation.
Yeah.
When you buy the food outside, this food has to last until it's finished being
Right.
sold, as opposed to us cooking at home.
No.
where we
Plus,
just
remember
wanna
the
satisfy
food
family.
industry outside there has scientists checking to see how best they can make you addicted by the concoction and the
The combination.
combination and the concentration of the sugar, salt, fats, and MSG. It creates in your mind an addiction. So you are addicted to that food. You just go and see in the airport who they're lining up next to the longest, which chicken area. That will tell you who have the most MSG, the most sugar, the most salt, and the most whatever it is to make you addicted.
Because we see, and I see it in athletes as well. When you begin removing the sugars, we have to do it very, very gradually.
Yes.
And wean them off, as opposed to the precipitous
Yes.
drop, because it changes the brain chemistry.
Totally.
And they become moody, unmanageable, and you have to now reintroduce the sugar and
Yes.
slowly back off.
Yes.
So we know about
It's
the
like
addiction.
it's like a stepwise approach.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we see it in children, like the children athletes, but we see it in
They
the
get
adults
very
too.
depressed.
Yeah.
If you take it off too fast, they get extremely depressed.
Some of them become anxious. Some
Yeah,
of
they
them
get very, and
bad dreams.
they get bad. They get bad. No, it really affects you, and then you grab for the sugar.
Yeah.
And once you take it, you got near fix.
And they start the whole
Process again.
over, you know. But the children need to be taken care of and catered to with respect to the new phenomenon of this obesity. And I think our numbers are scary though.
It's going up. I would say about 65 to 85% of people in this country is fat.
That is scary numbers.
Yeah, not every. I mean, you go and stand around on a Saturday evening anywhere in any function. I don't want to say it in your program, but I'm going to say it. A lot of the women have big bellies. The young girls, big bellies. No, I'm telling you. You look at Carnival now. Carnival is a set of women with big belly in it now, and it's sad. My job is to reverse that and make us back into the good-looking thing we had a long time.
Right. And when you say good looking, I mean people
People-wise,
taking better
care of themselves, yes.
and being
Not
healthy.
facial features.
Yeah, being more
I'm talking about
responsible. Yeah.
make yourself more physically fit, muscular tone, in decreased fat,
To live longer.
To
be
live
more-
longer.
To be more useful to your
and to not
families.
end up with the social determinants of health where you end up with a heart attack and your whole family suffers from lack of finances.
Yeah, that is scary, you know. I think that our discussion is very, very enlightening. I've learned a lot from you, and I look forward. I mean, if it's possible to have you on future
Once you don't get
iterations.
customer fat shaming.
Right, that's fine. You know, and I want to thank you for taking time. and
Appreciate it. Well, thanks for calling me. I appreciate it anytime.
This is it, you know, and I'm glad that I was able to get onto you, and you were so willing. You know, you called me a couple of times, you know, just to come
Well,
out and give-
my friend McDowell and Melissa,
Yeah.
you had an ace there.
you know, so you know, I want to thank you for your time, and of
Appreciate
course,
it.
Look forward to having you on.
And thank you fellas here too.
Yeah, these guys,
The young boys
yeah,
here.
gave up themselves
Very
on a
good, sir.
Saturday when they could have been outside.
Outside,
and,
yeah.
you know.
Thanks for coming.
You know,
fellas.
so that's basically it. You know, thanks. For
Okay,
your time,
thanks a
sir.
lot. Take care.
Take care.